Hello, everyone. It is Will and Carter back at it again with a little bit of hindsight, a little bit of foresight, what happened this past weekend. And to end it all, we're just going to talk about what we're excited about with this coming weekend. So, I kind of want to start off as a TSM fan. I think I have to say this, right? TSM is kind of looking like a bottom three team right now. It really hurts my soul. Um, we saw them lose first to FlyQuest. Ow. Kind of out of draft even. And Jose Diota was on fire, which we can talk about as well. They lost to Cloud9 pretty handily, to be honest. And then they barely beat CLG. And I'm not sure they should have beat CLG entirely,
No, I think
right?
I
So,
think CLG is a different conversation where CLG threw literally every game that they played this past weekend. But
yeah.
talking more about TSM, yeah, there are as of right now, TSM is looking kind of as strong, I would say, as like Golden Guardians and Dignitas. Maybe Immortals too. That's kind of Immortals had a good showing. That's kind of like where I assess their power level. It's just such like an unimpressive roster, I feel like in general. I really like a
Yeah.
lot of these players. Like I really like PoE. I think Spica's a really great jungler. Of course, coming into the season, I was super excited about Sword Art, but it just this team feels bad. It feels like everyone plays comfort picks, even when like the drafts don't like make those comfort picks don't make sense in the drafts. It
Yeah.
feels like everyone's kind of off doing their own thing. I don't know if there's anyone on TSM currently who is the best in their role. And I think the team has had a little bit of an identity crisis, like figuring out how to play, figuring out like where they want to use their
Yeah.
advantages. A lot of times, Huni has a good amount of jungle proximity as opposed to Lost, and Huni hasn't been carrying particularly well. Huni's had quite performances as always. So it's kind of bad news if you're a TSM fan, and it kind of makes you think, when is Hanser getting a shot?
I think Hooney's not as bad as say like it's also expectations, right? Like Sword Art had the most to live up to right now.
Yeah,
Um
but based
and
on good
he's
reason. He's being
based
paid
on
a
good
lot of
reason.
money.
Yeah. And it's just really fallen flat. And maybe these are growing pains, right? Maybe these are things they need to get done. PoE is still acting like a top three mid laner, right? That's the good news. He's a little
Yeah.
too selfish still, but that's something we always kind of knew about, right? Like he's still TPing to mid, and maybe he doesn't have to.
Hmm.
He's still fighting
He's so greedy.
incredibly well. Um, it, so I think PoE is flexible. The champions he mains, right? We've heard Jensen talk about this a little bit over at TL that control mages are huge right now for the mid
Yep.
lane because nothing else is really doing it. So you might as well try and scale
Yeah.
from the mid lane for later. And PoE is great at those champions. So that's
Yeah.
the good news at least for TSM. But I kind of want to move on to
But
your
even
team a
still,
little bit.
I mean, yeah, I was supposed to say, even still, they had some weird picks though, like Corky for
Uh, yeah,
it was just a weird weekend. But yeah, we can move
it
to
was a weird
Liquid.
weekend, but there's a lot to talk about. So I want to talk a little bit about TL, and
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
even just their first matchup because Team Liquid versus
All right.
Immortals
All right.
was
All
a
right.
little
So
surprising.
so to kind of give the context for this, Liquid had a 2-1 weekend. They won both the games that they played after this one. But it is true, Team Liquid lost to Immortals, and the world really wasn't ready for that upset. In particular, the upset is even more kind of funny because of the nature of the matchup. Revenge dunked on Alfari.
Yeah,
Revenge kind of came out, I think he solo killed Alfari twice.
sounds right
No
ish.
jungle resources. Uh, I mean, I think he may have gotten some ganks later. I forget. I remember for that game, kind of liking Immortals team comp as well. Oh yeah, and they had their bot lane came in and Raze played Blitzcrank and got some really great hooks onto tactical.
You mean
I don't know, dude.
Destiny? Raze
Yes,
is
it's Destiny.
ADC. Yeah,
Raises
yeah,
the ADC. You're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Destiny played a great Blitzcrank game. TL did not look so great on the Senna Tom Kench. I wonder if that's a thing that they're gonna keep playing,
I
or
just don't like
whether
them on it, to be honest. I
I don't.
don't.
I just Liquid always talks about this season they want to play like aggressive champions. Senna, I don't think is an aggressive champion
No.
until you have like all your souls stacked. I don't think Senna is gonna 2v2 kill bot lane. I think Senna more likely is gonna try to outsustain, which is kind of what the Team Liquid of old would do, just like take slow fights, play for late
Yeah.
game. So I don't. Maybe if the meta comes back to it, it's nice to kind of have and to have some practice on, but I don't like it for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Core JJ and Tactical, even if it's a bit inty, kind of pop off together on not Senna Tom Kench. Senna Tom Kench, you have to kind of resign yourself to going the distance, right? You have to resign yourself
Mhm.
to being Sven Vulcan, where Sven is going to be good, baseline, safe, farm incredibly well, get a pick here and there, and then suddenly it's 30 minutes and Sven is taking over the game. That's how that comp plays. Tactical Core JJ, I want to see that level 2 minion death engage, like
Yeah, I want to
that's just
see
not
like
what they
a
was.
Phelios. I want to see like a Phelios Thresh. I want to see like Leona and Samira or Tactical Samira with like anyone that Cortej wants to play. Honestly,
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
Samira Rel, exactly. Those are the kind of lanes I love to see Liquid's bot lane do, and I give them respect for like trying to play this strategy that I think everyone is now realizing is pretty good. I think Tom Kench is in right now.
Yeah.
Uh, so I give them respect for trying it, but like getting destroyed by Revenge of all players is kind of exciting for Immortals.
Yeah.
They got a huge upset that no one thought they were capable of, and I think ever since then people have been starting to wonder maybe this roster will be good.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely I think it was a bottom tier roster for everyone looking at it this year. I think I remember us looking at Immortals and saying, "Hey, this looks like they're trying to build something up that might actually work." Um and it looks like it might. It just might. That being said, they did lose their next two games. To
That is
Golden
true.
Guardians and then to Cloud9. And,
Yeah.
let's honestly talk
You
about
know,
Cloud9 because
arguably, yeah, arguably both of those are respectable losses. Maybe less so Golden Guardians, but yeah, Cloud9, looking like one of the top teams in North America right now. They're
they're
this
finally
upcoming
playing.
weekend. Oh, they're here, and Perkovic is here. Perks had some pop off performances this past weekend.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
what's kind of interesting is this next weekend we're gonna have the rematch of 100 Thieves versus C9. That'll be one that I'm really excited for because 100 Thieves have also been doing super well lately. But
Yep.
C9 in particular, as we were talking about, just like looking like they're in super top form right now.
Yeah.
Blabber is probably looking like the best jungler right now. Sven kind of looks like the best ADC right now. Uh,
Yep.
Perks is kind of acclimating. We saw a really good Azir game that he had recently.
I mean, yeah, that
I'm really
great
liking this
Azir
team.
Shrima shuffle on the
And
bot
the
lane
alcove,
after a fight. Yeah, in the alcove. That was beautiful. Well timed as
yeah.
well. And I feel like he had a lot of patience that game on the Azir, which is a huge part of playing that champion. Um,
Mhm.
I want to point something out because, it's Super Bowl time. That game was played just as Super Bowl was starting. So I wasn't paying close attention, but, I had it on while that was starting.
Yeah.
I did not need to have that game on for long. Cloud9 Immortals. There was a 9K gold difference at minute 20.
Oh my god.
That's ridiculous. Blabber, I agree.
Yeah, so
Absolutely took number one slot as a jungler for at least this past week and
mhm.
maybe moving forward as well, right? We've talked about this how this jungle pool is all really a fight,
Yeah.
but
I
no
the
one
thing
no
about
one's had a game like that yet.
I think Blabber is the most exciting jungler in North America. I still like don't entirely give him the onus because I know I'm a big Liquid guy. But like people like Santorin are also giving stellar performances. Sure, it's not in that same like super
Hmm.
exciting way. That like Blabber will pop off on Kindred and get like 7 kills. Or will pop off on Olaf and just run down their ADC and their mid every time.
Yeah.
But like Santorin is also playing a really good reserved style, getting his team ahead in a lot of ways, and sacrificing himself a little more, which kind of leads to kind of a more in the background play style that goes kind of unappreciated, I think.
That's true.
But Blabber for sure, looking like he's in top form. And if I did have to say after this past weekend, I think Blabber got MVP of the weekend, and it was well deserved.
Yeah.
I think Blabber might be looking better than Santorin, but I think that's going to be a particularly interesting matchup as we go down this season.
It's something we need to keep an eye on, right? You need to always keep an eye on this weekend to weekend. People can be in different moods. They can be in the zone. They can be out of the zone. You never know how someone's gonna play. I think that even that TL first game is a perfect indicator of that. But we are starting to see some shape, right? We see 100 Thieves also, only other team that went 3-0. They did it as well against Evil Geniuses, Counter Logic Gaming, and Dignitas. And that's kind of what I want to say is that Cloud9 also had a 3-0 against teams that aren't very good.
Hmm.
Golden Guardians, then TSM, then
Yeah,
Counter Logic Gaming. Sorry,
yeah.
Immortals. So
I mean,
I don't think either. Well, first of all, one of these teams have to lose next weekend because they're playing each other,
hmm
and I think they're really good. I think they're gonna shape up. They're not both gonna have lossless seasons though, right? I
that
don't
is
think
true.
Perkovic is going
No
deathless
one's
on the
gonna
win
have a
loss rate. Like,
uh
um,
yeah. But who do you think it's gonna be?
I think out of the two of them, right? We get this game Saturday night, 5 p.m. I'm really excited, and I think it's gonna be 100 Thieves. I think that it's gonna come out of the bot lane where FBI and Huhi are just gonna flex. I don't even know how they're gonna do it, but I think they're just gonna flex. I think Cloud9 still
Oh,
has a huge liability in Fudge too. I think if you ban out Fudge's Lulu and you force him to play something that's a little bit more difficult, like how many times can he really pop off on Aurelia? I don't know,
yeah.
but I'd like to find out.
I I see that. I see that. I think Fudge has definitely been playing better this past weekend. I'm actually gonna go for a little bit of the controversy. Even though I love Hundred Thieves, love that organization. I actually think the favorites going into this are Cloud9. I think Cloud9's bot lane has stepped up in a massive way. We had this discussion about best bot lane North America between Liquid, Cloud9, and Hundred Thieves that keeps going on. I think
Yeah,
Cloud9 have cemented themselves as a better bot lane than 100 Thieves, and
I
arguably
agree.
best in league, but I wouldn't quite give it to them maybe over Tactical and Core JJ. But that's a different discussion. I think Perks is really showing up for the first time in North America, which makes me very excited. I think the
Yeah.
team has had more time to kind of meld in their identity. Playing that lock-in tournament together, I think, was super helpful for them. And I have seen some good performances out of Fudge. I think Fudge at the moment is can be like a liability and is like a weak point on Cloud9.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
kind of what we saw in the lock-in tournament. We saw Alfari just become a become a become a Team Liquid win condition so often. So I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. But I think Cloud9 are really stepping up in ways where I think Hundred Thieves arguably have had some worse performances with their
Yeah.
individual players.
Yeah. No, that's I'm totally with you there, and I think I could see it going either way. I really hope we get a really even game either way, right? Like this 100 Thieves CLG game that we got this past weekend. Dead even gold through minute 45, right? Like a
Hmm.
game like that really gets you going. And I think I know we're running short on time here. Last couple minutes, the last game I want to talk about coming up this weekend, Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. It should be the other game that we want to see. It's going to be Sunday 4 p.m. The last time this matchup happened, it was in the group stage of the lock-in tournament, and
Yeah, which Hundred Thieves took it.
100 Thieves took it without Santorin on Team Liquid.
True. Yeah.
Not
Uh,
to say his replacement did that poorly. I remember the replacement was actually doing pretty well. I forget who it was.
uh, oh, it was
Um,
Armeo.
Armeo. He actually played pretty well. I think better than anyone
He did, but
expected.
that's besides the point.
But it's Santorin. So like
Yeah.
this is a brand new game, and for that one, I mean, I have to go Team Liquid because my win condition on the air one is FBI and Huhi somehow pop off. I can't imagine a bot lane ever popping off against Core JJ and Tactical.
Against
That's my
Core, yeah.
issue. I
I
like.
mean, so Tactical's performance against Immortals did shake some fans, but when it really comes down to it, I honestly believe that Team Liquid are the best team in the league. I think
Yeah.
lock-in tournament results have shown us this. I think they kind of their each individual player. I think Alfari and Jensen are almost inarguably their best in role. I think the bot lane almost has a good case for being best in role. I think Santorin has maybe the weakest case of his team for best in role, but has a case of best in role.
Yeah.
I just think Liquid are styling on people right now, so I'm gonna give it to Liquid over 100 Thieves. But I think
Yeah.
100 Thieves have shown that they can beat Liquid in these single game styles. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was the upset with that one too. I think 100 Thieves kind of have the potential. I never want to count 100 Thieves out of winning a series. I think they just have like
Exactly.
that
I
factor
would.
to them.
I like to think of it right. If it's a best of five, I would never imagine that Team Liquid sweep 100 Thieves in a best of five.
Maybe
So
in a
in
best
that
of five,
sense,
I look at it differently. I think Liquid has some good best of fives,
but do they sweep, right? Can 100 Thieves take a game? If they can ever take a game, that means they can take a best of one, like at any point in time.
I guess
Because
that's fair. I see what you're saying.
I never expect Team Liquid to always win against them all the time. They already got beat. But anyway, no, I'm still
Yeah.
with you. Team Liquid in this matchup, 100%. But either way, we got some really good games this coming weekend. Really excited. We're gonna be streaming some reactions on some of them here and there. We'll keep you updated. But other than that, hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you again soon.